Okay, so today's Tanya is very, very beautiful Tanya. What happens is like this. Alter Rebbe, in fact, one of the nicest things, I don't know why I never saw this before. Somehow it never entered my little consciousness. And basically, the Alter Rebbe says that the cosmic reality is similar to the individual reality. We know it's olam, I forgot the word, but olam nasim belibam, the whole universe is in the heart. The human body actually is a microcosm of the universe. For example, your hair represents the forest, your heart is like Yerushalayim or Israel, and the whole health of the body depends, as Alter Rebbe says, mainly on one thing, and that is how well is your blood flowing, right? God forbid if there's any cause in the heart is pumping out blood, and all that blood has the nutrients, it has the oxygen, it has the life force. If God forbid there's one right there, they call it 365 various different veins, and goes through, it brings the blood to every single cell in the body. If one of those veins gets clogged up, a person can die, right? What is a heart attack? That the vein gets clogged up and the heart doesn't, stops pumping, or God forbid, what is a stroke? That there's a clog in a vein and the blood doesn't go there, and then the guy, so every single second, a human being needs a pumping heart. I don't know if you know this, but there's no machine in the world that can do what a heart does. In 1 year, any single human pump, and there are a lot of good human pumps, in 1 year it would break if it did what the heart does. The heart always is pumping, it's actually regenerating. It's obviously the way Hashem made us, that the cells that go bad. And that's also why we have to exercise, because when we exercise, we're elevating our heart rate, and then the blood literally hits the brain. Why do people feel better when they feel sharper? Because you get blood to the brain, and it's very, very important, because there are 1 or 2 people here that are over 40, so it's very important to understand this. After 40 years old, you start to lose brain cells, and we can't really afford to lose them. And so the thing is, what do you have to do? You have to exercise and eat healthy. Why? Because when you exercise, you bring oxygen to brain cells. And if brain cells don't have oxygen, they begin to die. Now, we have a lot of brain cells, but eventually it takes a toll. So exercising, and particularly exercise that cardiovascular, that you get your heart rate up, particularly healthy food as well. These are the keys, lots of studies on it, for maintaining brain health, physical health, and all these different things. And conversely, not stressing, because when we stress, things constrict in the body, the blood flow is not as good, and we don't have the same, literally their blood will shift away to parts of the brain, parts of the body, fight and flight mode. And so that's why it's so important also to come to my classes, so you feel good, so you don't stress. Very important stuff. Okay, moving right along. The Alter Rebbe has a beautiful example. He says like this: just like the heart, the life force has to flow into every limb of the body, and if it doesn't, God forbid, the person becomes sick and ill, so too the Shekhinah, the light of Hashem, has to come into the cosmic body. What is the cosmic body? This is the Jewish people. Every one of our souls, every single Jew, is just like there's 248 limbs in a body. There are 600,000 general limbs to kind of God's body, the body, or the place that the Shekhinah, the godly light, comes to. Now we know, why was the world made? The world was made, yes, the anti-Semites are right, the world was made for the Jews. And so what does that mean practically? It means that Hashem's inner desire for this world, as we know, Beis Rashis, there are 2 creations, 2 reasons, primary reason for creation, the Jewish people and the Torah. So Hashem's primary desire is the Jewish people. And so when God's energy flows into the Jewish people, and they are one, in other words, when we are united, so then it's like that blood flow, that Shekhinah can flow into us, and then what happens with blood that flows in, it always goes back to the heart. So if any one of us holds, God forbid, hatred in our heart towards any Jew, we stop the flow of life force back to Hashem, which doesn't only affect the Jewish people, in fact, it infects the whole world. Because the reason the whole world exists is for the Jewish people. So therefore, a simple example of this is, let's say I have a son, and I love my son very much, and I make a company for my son. And let's say, for whatever reason, I get upset with my son. I say, you know what, this guy, I don't like him anymore, whatever. So not only am I affecting my son, I'm affecting the whole company. Every of the million employees in that company are now going to lose out because the whole reason the company exists is for my son. And if I have a problem with my son, every single person is going to affect. And that's why it says clearly in the Zohar that there are 10 commandments and the 10 sayings of the world. When the Jewish people keep the 10 commandments, when we study the Torah, the world itself gets the 10 sayings. So the flow of energy to the world depends on the couple of shmegegis around here. So when we have Avas Yisrael, what does that mean? It allows the Shekhinah, the energy of Hashem, to flow into us. Then it can go back to Hashem, and it go back and forth. And that doesn't only affect us, it affects the whole universe. And obviously we live in the universe, we're part of the universe, we need the universe. So this is a very powerful motivation for us to have the primary mitzvah of Avos Yisrael. And very interesting, the Baal Shem Tov says that every mitzvah aseh has a mitzvah leisasa. So just like there's keep kosher, there's don't eat treif. What is the leisasa of Avos Yisrael? Don't hate a Jew in your heart. So that means just as Avos Yisrael is the most important mitzvah, the most important leisasa, this is my own teaching, would be not to hold any grudge or resentment. So now that we realize that holding a grudge and resentment is literally affecting the Shekhinah, it's affecting God, it's affecting the Jewish people, it's affecting the world. So we can certainly have a positive motivation to let go of anything that hurt us and forgive and forget and love unconditionally. L'chaim v'levracha.